Daniel, we read about a dream vision that the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar saw. In it, a great statue whose different parts were made of gold, silver, bronze, iron, and clay was crushed by a giant stone. Daniel interpreted the king's dream. The statue's golden head represented Nebuchadnezzar and his kingdom. The other metals stood for three lesser kingdoms that will succeed him until God will destroy the fourth one and rule in its stead. This scheme of four kingdoms reappears throughout the book under different guises. While the literary pattern of changing and declining kingdoms was widespread in the ancient world, the reception of the Book of Daniel and its Jewish, Christian, and Islamic interpretations made the notion of translatio imperii, or the transfer of powers, prevalent in diverse historical traditions. It promoted a linear view of history, in which one empire replaces another and carries on its mission of domination. It also influenced millenarian traditions that saw history as moving towards a political system that would fundamentally change society, and even present views that position the nation state at the end of the historical process. This theological notion of change has also had a decisive impact on how modern scholars study empire. Ever since Edward Gibbon's Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, historians have focused on imperial failures or overreach as means of understanding empires. That is, empires are often studied based on what we perceived made them rise and fall. Yet, this approach fails to take into account the longevity of imperial systems in both the ancient and modern world. When we put aside Danielic eschatologies, we may begin to ask how empires maintain their rule, how people living under empire perceive their pasts, presents, and futures, and form their identities. And perhaps, most importantly, what kind of dynamics and social relations run at the base of the interaction between rulers and ruled. These are just some of the questions that contemporary studies about empire try to answer in order to give us a better understanding of ancient and modern experiences.